the staff. We've got 67 people in the meeting chair.
It's meant to look like an indoor furniture. And this came from Andy too, because when she said how much you love music and that would be great out here.
My name is Adolf Marema, the chair of chess in the city of Johannesburg. Today, we welcome you to this community-based planning session. These sessions are designed to engage with you and provide feedback on the previous integrated development plan submissions from your financial year 2023-2024. And in the past workshops, we had your input, and today we have the presentation that has some sense of a feedback that tried to address the concerns that you raised. But today we also want you to engage, given the situation that the fact that we have got so many wards in today's session. I wanted to suggest that the presentation be circulated to all the people who have attended the meeting. The words that are in attendance are flagged there in the screen, and I hope you can all see that if we go through that presentation, we have now until 8 o'clock. And I'm afraid that if we start with the presentation now, it might take us too long. So I think fundamentally what we are. Oh, sorry about that. I think it is only fair to say that the copies of the presentation must be made available to all attendees and all residents that are interested in going through all these things, so that at least we are able to align all of us. Like I said, I want to declare the meeting open. The following wards are in attendance. Ward 83, 85B, 80, I think it's 89, 97, 101, 126, and 134A. I welcome all of you in this meeting. The agenda is as follows. I've opened and welcome by one of the ward councillor who is in attendance. Maybe we would want to get one of the ward councillor in Region C to welcome us before we actually get into the discussions of today's meeting. Do we have any councillor in attendance?
Chair, just checking through the list. Maybe if there are councillors, if they can just give us a thumbs up. I see Councillor Zander, sure, Ward 89 is here.
Yes, Councillor Zander, you can go ahead, and we're on item 2. Welcome by the ward councillor.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Jay. I just want to say this would be an honor to do that. Thank you. Just welcome to everyone, and I hope that you'll find value out of tonight's session. These are important sessions in order to better our community. So thank you very much for everyone being here.
Now, thank you very much, Councillor, for welcoming us in this meeting that is dedicated for your regions and the ward that we have mentioned that are in attendance. And perhaps just as an emphasis to what I have said before, that I hope that all residents that are in attendance, including councillors that are here, I hope they've been given or furnished with the presentation itself. It's a high level presentation that we have, and I would want everybody to follow through. Today's feedback session, I think what is most important is not necessarily to go through the presentation, but rather to get the inputs of priorities per wards and things that councillors and residents in their respective wards would want to deposit today. And I want to believe that Quresh, we do have some person or the person who is going to be the scriber taking notes of what we're going to be discussing today per wards. And as part of the engagement, when you come in, just introduce yourself. Which ward is it? And possibly, if you know the ward councillor, they just mentioned the ward councillor, and give us issues that are of priority that you believe that should be, factored into the IDP processes when we do the planning going forward. So we will try and manage how the process of the speakers list is concerned in terms of when you raise your hand wanting to speak, we will take it from there. And I've got the team from my office, Quresh from legislature, who are going to also monitor and assist us in making sure that today's engagement becomes successful. And I want to believe, Quresh, that as we proceed, maybe we can still again flag the link to this meeting so that if there are those that still wants to join the meeting, so that they at least be given an opportunity to deposit issues that they feel and believe are of priority, and maybe issues that have not been necessarily included into the presentation that we have shared with everybody, so that at least we're able to cover almost everyone. And I understand that we might not necessarily have an opportunity to have everybody speaking in today's meeting, but the Teams also allows, it's got an option where one can actually type and deposit what they would want to get prioritized in the ward. Without any waste of time, colleagues wants to, and maybe as a suggestion, I don't know whether you would want us to do per ward, or we would just rather say we are opening up for floor, so that at least whoever wants to then deposit, they can then introduce themselves, say who they are, where they come from, and then we take it from there. But there's also an option where we can say, maybe let's get inputs, maybe 4 inputs or 5 inputs from different wards. We can use that option. So I see there's a hand there coming, and if you want to assist us, thank you.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening to all the residents of Region C. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to say the following, that we have in the past engaged with communities in Region C, but I think what we tried to do tonight was to go as the legislature the extra mile, engage people online, because some residents would not perhaps attend these public meeting sessions. So this is, we have never had so many wards at the same time, so it's also a bit new to us. So we are pleading with the communities. You know what, we want to do this orderly so that we can get the inputs, you know, from all the wards listed there, Ward 83. So, Chair, I want to suggest that we do this. You know, we start with 83. We ask people. Yusuf will flight or read through the issues or the priorities that was raised last year during the CBP session, because I think people would want to see that. We will flight it, and he will then ask for Ward 83, and then those people can make comments. And as you said, we can't listen to everybody, but I think we will give maybe 3 or 4 people an opportunity to speak on it. And then secondly, then we capture that. It's recorded, the meeting. We also, if you want to make your comments, you can write it in the chat. The presentation, Chair, it's loaded in the chat. So if you can click on that, you can actually follow the presentation, or you can see what, while you're waiting, you can read up on what has been raised in the last CBP. Chair, then also there's a attendance register that is in the chat. People can click on it and just complete that. So we've got everything ready. If people just want to, maybe I'm going to hand over to Yusuf, Chair, after you, and then we can
Yes.
start with Ward 83, and then we just work our way down to 134, if that is okay with everyone. Thanks, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Yusuf. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, residents of Region C. Just before we start, just to explain to those residents who are perhaps new to the planning process of the city, we are now currently busy with this community-based planning, which is done during the months of September, October, November, in all of the wards of the city of Johannesburg. It's closely linked to the IDP process, because the inputs that we receive from residents at the CBP, those inputs are taken and fed into the business planning cycle of the city. And the city then, after considering the inputs that residents have given, will try to attach to see which of those inputs they can budget for in any particular financial year, and then will allocate a budget to that. So it's also important to know where we are in this IDP cycle. So remember, we're having local government elections in 2026. It's now 2024. So we're at the tail end of the IDP. The IDP is a 5-year plan that gets drawn up at the start of when new councillors are elected and council sits for the first time. So for the 5-year term of that office, an IDP is drawn up, and that IDP is reviewed annually. So now we're in the fourth cycle of this IDP. And what we're going to be flighting to the residents today, if you look on the screen now, you will see that we've got Ward 83 and 85 on the screen, and the priorities that were submitted to the city in the previous cycle of the IDP. So what we want to do is to review those priorities to see whether those priorities are still relevant, and if so, whether residents want to retain it for us to resubmit into the cycle of this IDP. And I think it's maybe just prudent, just before we start, we need to have a sense of who exactly is here from the different wards. So I think, and then also to explain, you'll see that when we flighted the wards, there were wards that had 85B and there was a 134A. So what we've also done as a city is we've looked at the dynamics of specific wards. And where you have a ward that has two distinct communities, maybe a community where there's an informal sector in that community, and all of the other is suburban residential housing, we've then divided them into, like for instance, Ward 85A and Ward 85B. And we're going to take three priorities from each of those segments. So we'll take three priorities from 85A and three priorities from 85B, because we realize that those two wards, although they're in one ward, the personalities of those two sectors are very distinct from each other. All right? That's the first thing. And then I think for what I'd like to do now is just to get a sense of which wards are here and how many people are here from that specific ward. So if I can ask for Ward 83, if all the residents from Ward 83 can just please put up their hands so that we can do a count and see how many residents from Ward 83 we have present in this meeting. So I see 2 hands so far. Just give a bit more time. Okay, so it would seem like we have 2 from Ward 83. Okay. Can we then also check for Ward 85? So if those 2 hands can please be put down. Thank you. So if you can go to Ward 85, and residents from Ward 85, please put up your hands. So Ward 85, it would seem that we have 3 residents here. Okay, so I think we kick off with those two wards. Do you want us to finish all the wards, Paresh? Okay, let's go to Ward 89. If we can get an indicator, if those hands can please be put down. Premi, if you can please, thank you. So Ward 89, can we see from Ward 89 who we have here? Ward 89, is that only one hand? Okay. Ward 97. Ward 97. Ward 97. I think we have 2 hands. Ward 101. Can those 2 hands please be lowered? Can the hands that were, I think it's Louisa and Daniel. Ward 97, please. The people who raise their hands for Ward 97, please lower it. And we're doing Ward 101 now. So let's just see how many residents from Ward 101 we have in this meeting. Ward 101. Seems like we have 9 residents from Ward 101. Ward 126. If those residents can please put their hands down. Thank you. And the residents of Ward 126, please raise your hands. Ward 126.
Yusuf, 134.
I'm coming to 134, correct? I'm first doing 126.
Okay, 126.
Yeah. Ward 126. 7 hands. And then Ward 134. If those hands can please be lowered so we can do 134 now. Ward 134. Ward 134. Or Ward 134 seems to be the bulk of the, how many is that? 19.
19.
19 hands for Ward 134. Thank you very much.
Can you call
Yes.
again 101, please?
I will. If all those hands can please be lowered. If all the hands currently up can please be lowered. Jabu, Vim, Pulisani.
Works with demand to safe work.
please lower your hands. And we can ask that everyone please mute themselves. Please ensure that you are muted so you don't disturb the meeting. Jabu and Vim, if you can please lower your hands.
Why should you mute? I'll mute why.
Vim, can you please lower your hand? Right, so if you can just do another count, I think there's a request
I
that
am
we
trying to do it, but
do. Oh,
the
thank you.
app doesn't want to cooperate.
Okay, no, it's down, Vim. Thank you. So there's a request that we just do a recount for 101. So if you can ask that all the residents from Ward 101 please raise their hands. 101. 101. So we'll just see. 101. We'll give them a few more seconds. 101. Currently on 9. And that's what we had the last time round.
Yeah, correct. 9.
Yeah, it's 9, yeah. So we'll stay with 9. Thank you. You can lower your hands. Okay, so Koresh, if you can go back to slide 83, to Ward 83, so we can just see. Right, so Ward 83, in the previous cycle of the IDP, there was 3 submissions made, or 3 priorities that were presented to the city. The one was a community food garden, and then you see the response there that the city has given. To say that the community food garden, the request is going to be directed to JPC, who are custodians of the city's land and development planning for the appropriate zoning of the said open space. So communities had identified an open space, and they had requested that we assist with establishing a community food garden. The second priority that the communities had identified for Ward 83 was a mobile clinic. And the response from the city was that the elder care clinic is accessible to the community of Ward 83 and Ward 85. And then the third priority was major arterial street lights repairs. And then you see the response from the city that it's an ongoing process through regular spotting. So those were the 3 priorities from Ward 83. So we need, and I know we've got 2 residents from Ward 83. If those 2 residents can please just engage with us to say whether these priorities are to be retained or whether there is something that you feel is more crucial as in terms of development in your community. So we'll see if the residents do raise their hands to give input. If there's no input, then it means that those priorities will then be retained as is. Okay, we're giving an opportunity for Ward 83. So there's no hands from residents of Ward 83. So that's fine. So that those priorities will then remain. We then also pleading with residents to please go through the presentation that has been posted in the chat box. That gives you a very comprehensive and in detail of all the developments that have taken place in all of the affected wards that we are speaking to tonight. So please familiarize yourself with the content of that presentation, because I think it's valuable information that is included in there. Can we then go to Ward 85? Now for Ward 85, we had 3 residents present here in the meeting. So let's just see what the inputs were that were given to us previously as priorities for Ward 85. A multi-purpose center. So they say in the response from the city is in Strubens Valley, there is no identified site for the multi-purpose. So residents in tonight's meeting, if you have a site that you know where this multi-purpose center can be established, then you must share it with us tonight so that we can put it in there. Then the sewage drains was another issue that residents had brought up. Then the matter has since been referred to the Department of Human Settlements for consideration. And the last one was the smart Apollo lights. And it's a stock response from them to say that it's an ongoing process through regular spotting. So residents of Ward 85, do we retain those 3 priorities? Or if not, if you can please raise your hand if you want to either remove one of the priorities and replace it with something else. But like I've said also, please take into consideration that we are at the tail end of the IDP process now, and that it's highly unlikely that any new priorities will be entertained because we are now going to the third, fourth year of the IDP cycle. So there are no hands from Ward 85, so it would seem that we retain those three priorities as is. Thank you, Ward 85. Ward 89, Qureshi, we can go down to the next slide. So Ward 89, the three priorities that were submitted, and we've got one resident in the meeting from Ward 89. Please, if you can just look at what the priorities were that were given to us previously. It was a road resurface. And then the response from the city was that the roads do not necessarily require resurface. The depot has done patching at 13th Avenue. Traffic calming measures next to all the schools. And the response from the city is that you must please submit through a formal petition to the office of the speaker for a request like that. And then the third priority that was given by Ward 89 was a mobile police station. And it says here the response from the city, the matter has been submitted as part of COJ submission to sector departments. This is an intergovernmental relations matter. Ward 89, the resident present here from Ward 89, is there any change that you'd like to see, or do you consider the priorities as, I see we've got Vonani Adolphus. So Vonani, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so it's me, Chair of Chairs. I also wanted to give an input, man, to say perhaps the approach should be in an instant of a ward where there is no comment. We must also check if the ward councillor is in attendance so that we can get a sense of whether these priorities have been met or if the advice on the response has been followed through, so that we can then gauge as to whether things are being done properly or not, so that at least the residents do not, feel like we're just wasting their time by ticking a box. We need to actually get to the councillor as to who is the councillor there. We need to get some sense of a feedback even from him, where we are not getting from the residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that input. So I know at the beginning of the meeting, we had only identified one councillor present, was Councillor Zander. I don't know if there are any other councillors that have subsequently joined the meeting, but I see your hand is up, Councillor Zander, so please go ahead.
Good evening, Chair and Chair of Chairs. Thank you for that comment. I just want to quickly look. I've only been councillor in Ward 89 for the past month, but in my time that I've been councillor, I have identified a few issues that probably going to need some capital budgeting in terms of stuff that needs to be done. I would say that we need to try and do
Councillor, you breaking up?
front of sorry, I'm driving at the moment, so can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can, Councillor.
Okay,
Yes,
sorry.
we can.
Okay, so traffic calming measures on Albert Street in front of Panorama Primary, but then so these submissions here, I'm not sure if the residents still needs that. I mean, the road resurface, they patched that. And then, yeah, so I would only say maybe the traffic calming measures is important, but we need to do a petition on that. And then the mobile police station, I'm not sure who submitted that. We can leave that as well, but there are some pressing matters like sewage pipelines and stuff that needs to be replaced in the Greenbelt and Woutervrede Park.
So, Councillor, I think what we'll do is ask you then to. So there's one priority. We'll take off the road surfacing, like you've now recommended, that we remove the road surfacing. And if you can please supply us with a priority to replace that. But in your priority, please be very specific. If you're asking for something, please be very specific as to what you are asking for and where exactly this service is required. So we need a location and we need a full description of what
Okay.
exactly it is. So if you can give that to us, but only one priority, because remember we've got to submit these 3 priorities. So we'll retain the 2 and then we'll wait for you to submit the 1 to
Yeah,
us.
look, I just want to say as well, the mobile policing station is not that it's not that big of a need, because the Fairlands police station and Honeydew is a bit further away, but Florida is also close to the water. I'd rather prefer to put another priority in there that's more pressing, in terms that affects the residents directly.
That's fine, Councillor. So then
Yeah.
we'll remove the mobile station and the road resurface and wait for your 2 priorities to replace that. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Just a quick question. If we're going to do a petition for the traffic calming measures, does it really need to be on this list? Or can I put forward 3 priorities?
I think so. You've got the response, and you can see that the traffic calming measures are not going to be considered in the IDP. So you are quite correct. We can remove these 3 priorities, and you will then give us 3 new priorities for Ward 89. So I'll note it that the councillor to submit 3 new priorities. Okay.
Right. I'll engage with the community afterwards as well, and then we'll formulate something to make sure.
Thank you, Councillor. I think
matters are attended to. Okay, sorry. Okay, also via written submission.
just repeat that again, Devon. You breaking up. We didn't catch that. Just repeat yourself, please.
I wasn't speaking. It was Councillor Zander that was speaking. This is Councillor Devon Steenkamp. There's also Councillor David Brand that's also in the meeting. I just feel like we're just going all over the place with the meeting, and I feel like there seems to be more some structure. I just wanted to give it 2 comments that I think the councillors can submit their own priorities and stuff that we normally do to the region and to the city speaker's office as we normally do. And I think this is more for the community to raise their voices and stuff so that they can have their inputs and what they feel is needed, where the budget needs to be spent on. So if we can maybe not ask for councillors' feedback, but rather the community's feedback that can rather speak up and say where they want the budgets, and then we will, as councillors, submit our own inputs going forward. And if I can, can I just say that I'm just satisfied again that 3 CAPEX projects for Ward 134 are missing again. I brought this up in our internal meetings. I even wrote an email about it, and I wrote it to the RD's office, and I see it still. No CAPEX budgets are mentioned that are on the IDP, but are not on this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Just a quick clarity there. It's Chair of Chairs here. Indeed, you are correct to say councillors are not necessarily to submit here. But we would want them to verify information as to whether in their mind or in their oversight in their respective wards, whether some of these things are done and need to remain there or not. It is not for them necessarily to deposit new things here in this platform. This platform, yes, is for the community, you're correct. And again, another thing is that I thought the gentleman is going ward per ward, and we were still going to get to 134. So that at least we don't lose the sight of how we're going to do this whole thing. And maybe again, Kuresh, I'm also following on the chat there. One of the residents has asked that the need for a mobile police station in Ward 89, that matter should not be removed on the list because there is a need there. So I think we should not necessarily have things removed if they are not done yet, because these sessions are a feedback session. We need to get a sense of whether things are done And if they're still outstanding, we keep them there. But if the councillor can confirm in the absence of a comment from the community, then we then get a sense of a guideline or a guidance on how we move. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we are going ward by ward. We were busy with Ward 97, but I'm just taking the hands that have been raised now. I see Councillor Zander. Is that a new hand or is that an old hand? Hilton, can we go with Hilton then?
Yes, good evening, Hilton Martin here. I'm in Ward 89. Okay, if I look at these priorities, I was actually very involved within the community environment and development. These items on this list, this doesn't make any sense, and I tend to agree with Councillor Zander that this needs to be reprioritized completely. These items on this list, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilton. So just to tell you where these inputs come from. Last year, we engaged on this on a similar process to this, community-based planning. And when we engaged with Ward 89, with the residents that were present in that meeting, and that time it was a physical meeting, these were the 3 priorities given by the residents to us in that meeting. So that's where it comes from. So if you're saying that it doesn't make sense or you don't know where, it's not something that has been designed by the city. It's something that the city received from the residents of Johannesburg. Thank you, Louisa.
Hi, it's Louisa Sardina. My mother has a property in Ward 97, and we've been waiting 20 years for approval on electricity. And we've been told that the budget is not enough budget, and that's happened 2 or 3 times. And we can't get the proposal, though the whole development has been approved by the council. We cannot continue with it for the reason that there is no electricity that's been provided or approved to the development. This has been going for 20 years, okay, with the excuse being that there is no capacity, yet there is development around us constantly. Okay, we've been given it 3 times and it's been retracted 3 times for the reason that there is no capacity. So the fact that you've got provision of houses there is highly important, and we would like to know where we stand and if the budget can be put in place to complete the electricity in the area. So they seem to get right to the end, like the Lutz upgrade, the Peter substation upgrade, and so forth, and then they never finalize it. And that was discussed and done in 2019, which they started in July 2019. Until today, it hasn't been finalized. So if someone can please assist us and please come back to us and give us a response and tell us where we stand so we can carry on. No developer will buy the property or continue with it if they do not get a return soon. We have offered to be able to develop it with solar without sending any electricity back to the grid, and we are also being denied that. So we can't move forward or backwards. We've been extending the council approval for years, and the council is stopping it every 5 years, and we've got less than 3 years to do it. If not, they will stop it and we will have to start all again. And we do not want to hold the city of Johannesburg liable for that. So please, if you can help us in any way, we'd appreciate it, and if you can include that in your budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa. Can I just caution residents that are on this platform that if we are going to go down this route, it's going to become a service delivery complaint session. So I'm just going to ask you, Louisa, very courteously to put that input into the chat box, and we will then see from our side where we direct that input to and how we can assist. Also, we'll engage the councillor on this. But please, this is not the platform for service delivery queries now. This has got a very specific purpose. We are looking at the priorities that have been submitted, and we reassessing and speaking to residents to find out whether these priorities are still relevant. So if you can just keep that as a focus so that we can then complete this session. Thank you. Premi?
I will do so. Thank you very much.
Premier
Thank
Reddy,
you.
please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't aware that perhaps we should also give feedback regarding that particular priority. I just wanted to clarify for Ward 85. I'm sorry, I'm going back. Where you said one of the priorities was sewage drains. Could I ask for specifically what was going to be done regarding the sewage drains? What was the priority regarding the sewage drains?
Quresh, can you just go back up to Ward 85? Sorry, we're going back now, but okay, the resident has brought it up. So let's just respond to that. Louisa, in the meanwhile, if you can just lower your hand, please. Quresh, can we go to Ward 85?
It's on the screen.
No, 89 is on the screen. We must go back to Ward 85. So we can just see what the sewage issue was that was raised there.
This one.
It's not moving on my side, Quresh. I don't know if it's moving on other people's on the screens of other people.
Is
But
it
it's not-
85? Which one? Let me read it. I think maybe it's just
85, the one that relates to sewage.
okay. It says sewer drains. The matter has since been referred to the Department of Human Settlements for consideration.
So in my understanding, it would be that the resident is requesting an upgrade of the sewage system in that ward, in that specific ward. That there's an issue with the drainage, the sewage drainage, and they want the sewage to the drainage to be upgraded. I don't know, is Premi still there?
Yes, yes.
So that would be my understanding, that they are requesting an upgrade of the sewer system in that ward.
Because practically every week, one of the streets has sewer running down it.
So that's precisely the request from the residents, because they've identified it as a problem, and they're saying to the city that the current system that they have is not able to carry the mass, and they are requesting an upgrade of the sewage system. So that's the priority that they submitted to us.
Okay, thank you.
D. Mohaswa. Please, you can carry on. Yeah, you're unmuted. You can carry on.
Yes, thanks, Chairperson of the session. My concern is about two things in relation to Ward 97. Street or roads resurfacing, because there are lots of potholes, and during seasons like this is going to get worse. The second one is under waste management. There are no sewer lines in that area. Pia Road all the way to Potgieter Road. So the residents there are using septic tanks. And I think it is high time that the city need to prioritize the installation of sewer line. There's a river that cut across Ramkiki from Peter Road and that area. Thanks.
Thank you for that input. Can I just ask that exact input that you've given to us, can you please go to the chat box and put your name in the chat box, put the ward in the chat box, and put exactly what you've explained to us now in that chat box, so that we can see how we fit it in with these priorities that we currently have. Thank you, Mr. Mohaswa. Julie Fredericks. Julie Fredericks, please go ahead. Julie Fredericks, please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm from Ward 89, and my key concern is the traffic calming measures has been on the agenda for quite some time. What is the time frame for this? And secondly, I mean, it is not just around the schools. There's key roads like Hackensteek, there's key roads like Gansibos where they believe it's race tracks. So what is the time frame for that? And is there anything that you could consider as Mr. Councillor to calm certain specific roads as well, which is being used as speed tracks or racing tracks?
Thank you, Julie. So, Julie, just look at the response there from the city. The city said, please submit it as a petition to the Speaker's office, and then they will undertake the required investigation. So, if you in the chat box, please, same like I've said to the gentleman before you, you can just put your name, your ward, and exactly what you've said to us now in the chat box, and then we can see how we can fit that in with this. But as well, to go to the petition system of the city and lodge a petition through that system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Don Hutchinson. Mr. Mohaswa, can you please lower your hand? Don Hutchinson, please go ahead.
Hi, it's Donna Hutchinson. I'm a ward committee member for Ward 97. I do remember these priorities, although there was another one that was quite urgent, which was taxi rank on Hendrik Potgieter and Doreen, or Peter Road. So I'm wondering where that one is, because that one was quite urgent because of the amount of deaths that we have had there with taxis and people coming down Doreen Road and causing accidents. For the lady, I think it was Louisa, that was asking about the housing. The housing that's prioritized here is the low-cost housing for our informal settlements. I think we've got about 6 informal settlements in our area, and that was for them. And also the waste management, that is like the other DM said. He said for Pier, Daisel and all that, yes, there is no sewage lines, but there is also no waste pickup that is being done on the plots. I can't remember the number now. That's on the corner of Peter and Bayers Nordia. So that was those 3 priorities. Just some feedback.
Thank you, Don. And for anything else that you, I mean, there's some additional information you've given, please type that into the chat box with your name and your ward, and we'll then see how we fit that in. Ralph, please go ahead. Ralph, please unmute yourself. Yeah, you can.
Good evening. It's Ralph Pitcar, Councillor, Ward 101. I'm unfortunately could only join late because of our Stratcom meeting today. However, I don't know how much has been said about 101, but there are numerous things.
Councillor, can I please stop you? We haven't come to 101 yet. If you can just wait, I think 101 is next. If we can just conclude on Ward 97 and Ward 89, 101 will be next. Thank you.
100%, thank you.
So, I think we've now concluded on Ward 89 and Ward 97. So, Ward 89, we'll check the chat box and see what the council has also submitted, because, like we say, the road surface. If you look at the response from the city, so the city is saying that they've done an investigation. Doesn't necessarily require road surfacing. They've done patching, so we can remove that. The traffic calming measures, I believe, is still an issue. The mobile police station, somebody has said, please, it's still an issue in their ward. So we will then consider a 3rd priority for that, for Ward 89. Ward 97, it would seem as if all 3 priorities are still current. However, as one of the residents has indicated, there's a 4th priority here that was given that she doesn't see anywhere. Remember, we only took 3 priorities the last time around. So if that priority is not here, it means it wasn't. These were the 3 most urgent priorities. That is why they are reflected here. So Quresh, if you can go to the next ward, Ward 101. If you can move the slides, please, to Ward 101.
Can you see it?
It's not moving, Quresh. Maybe I think you must just take it off and then put it on again, and then it's not moving on my side.
Okay, while I'm doing that, let me just maybe I can just read it from my side, and then
No, but
There you go.
I think it's important that they see it, Quresh, that the residents see
okay,
it.
all right. Let
So
me
while
let me
you're doing
just
that, I see there's 3 hands. Just look at
Done.
those 3 hands quickly while you reloading. Pumi, you can go ahead.
Evening, everyone. I just wanted to remind everyone that there is a link on the chat box for an online register. It's going to assist us to capture all the people that have attended the session. And also those who are raising priorities. It will help us to know who to contact, because sometimes the information, when it's received, you find out the people from GSPCR are not able to find the street address. So if they fill in the attendance register, it's going to assist us further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pumi. So please, if you can just ask while we're waiting also for Quresh to reload the presentation, if everyone can please complete the online register. Then I see we've got Julie. Julie, is that an old hand? If it is, can we please remove the hand? And then
No, Chair, it's not an old hand.
okay.
Just with regards to the mobile police station, what we have noticed, that has also been on the agenda for a long time. What about empowering our CPFs in our areas by way of as first responders? Because we just simply don't get response if we have to wait for Honeydew to respond.
Okay, that's noted. Please, like I say, those inputs, just put it into the chat box so that we don't lose them. Ralph, if you can go ahead, please. Ralph, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Is that an old end, or you want to make an
No,
input?
no. I re-raised my hand. You took me down because I was Ward 101. Now we're on Ward 101.
Yeah, if you can just give me a second, just to, because I'm supposed to present the priority. I know everyone can read, but just to make sure that we all are seeing the slides in front of us. So if I can just go, so right, Ward 101. Ward 101 had 9 residents in this meeting. So I'm not sure. I see more people have joined. We're sitting on 184 now. So I think just before we conclude this meeting, we'll have to do another count, because it would seem as if more people from the wards have joined. So for Ward 101, the 3 priorities. So priority 1 was a clinic right next to the rehabilitation facility. The OJPC building can be converted into a clinic. Can the community get an interim mobile clinic? The response from the city that mobile clinics are currently overwhelmed with current site visits. The community can, in the meantime, access the mobile at Ward 100. It's a saying skill center. So that's the response from the city. Safe sidewalks. The streets were inspected. Sidewalks were deemed safe to walk. Public lighting street lights. For the new installation, no request has been submitted to City Power. The City Power team will assess and recommend whether a solar, high mast, or street light is needed, and will proceed with the installation accordingly. So those are the 3 priorities and the responses from the city. So if we can ask if there are residents from Ward 101 that would like to comment on these priorities, please raise your hands now.
Right, can I speak now?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Quite honestly, I have the feeling this is Ward 100 or Ward 114 or whatever, but it's definitely not Ward 101 when it comes up here. Where I don't know where you can get high mast lighting into this area. High mast lighting, the only place where you could have high mast lighting would be in Golden Harvest Park, and that would not be conducive to the wildlife there. So I don't know where your ideas come from. Number 1, we've got to get rid of the illegal squatter camp that has formed next to the N1. That is priority number 1 for my people. Number 2, the amount of illegal trading on the roads, that has to be sorted out. So with other words, our priorities lie with JMPD. And then lastly, we were promised to have a community center originally. The budget was removed and we only got a library. In the meantime, we have lost the hall that we used to have our meetings in, and thus we need to upgrade the library to a community center. With other words, we need to put a utility hall into that community center as a matter of urgency. We can't have community meetings in Ward 101 because we don't have a facility. So those are the three major priorities. There's other stuff like JRA had us down for road resurfacing and then removed themselves from this contract. Suddenly the budget was gone. There's all sorts of things about that. But those are things I will tackle on a different scale. As far as the IDP is concerned, I think those are the three main issues that we need to urgently address in Ward 101.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, I know you said you joined the meeting late. These priorities that you see being flighted here in front of you, this came from the community when we engaged with them last year in a similar process. So I would ask then, Councillor, those issues that you've raised, if you can please just put it into the chat box so that when we go and we reconsider, then we can see how it fits in and how we can include it here with these priorities. Thank you. Sue, if you can go ahead.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sue from the North Riding Residents Association. I actually agree with Councillor Ralph with regards to the need for a public hall to engage with the community. They do require that as a matter of urgency. The other question was the street lights that would needs to be addressed for safety reasons in the community, especially, for example, Blandford Road, where you actually have a very dark and dangerous turn, causes many accidents on that particular road. The walkways, that's not an issue. And the clinic, I'm not sure about the clinic. That wasn't an issue raised by the community, but what was raised by the community was definitely the environmental impact of the Kaya sands and the impact of the illegal dumping and burning in the particular ward. The residents are extremely upset with regards to that.
Thank you very much, Sue. Tracy?
Thank you.
Tracy, you can go ahead. Tracy,
Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Thank you, Chair. Just to echo some of what Sue said, so the illegal dumping is a huge issue. I know that there's a lot of activity happening around that, but literally individuals are getting ill from that continual burning and the toxic smoke that is in our air 24/7, day in and day out. And I mean, we live a little bit further away. I can just imagine what the people living right next to the dump are experiencing. That needs to stop as an absolute matter of priority. The other things that are missing on here, it was mentioned about the street lights. Street lights in and around Sharon Lee and on President Fisher are never working. It is exceptionally dark. It is unsafe for drivers on the road not being able to see, because individuals cannot walk on the side of President Fisher. People are going to get knocked over there. So that's a huge issue. So within Sharon Lee suburb itself, but then equally on President Fisher. The traffic lights in Malibongwe are continually not working, and there was a major accident a couple of days ago. I'm not sure if the person actually survived. So that needs to be looked at. And then a personal gripe, because I have not had water since the 29th of September. And Ralph, just to let you know, it's burst again, even though they fixed it 3 hours ago, is the Sharon Lee water pipes. We just constantly, I know that they're fixed on Roy Else, but now that problem has moved internally into Sharon Lee, and all the pipes are bursting. We need to have all those pipes fixed as an absolute matter of priority. We haven't had water since the 29th of September, and it's ridiculous. So those are my priorities, and I'll put them in the chat. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Zanelli? Zanelli, please unmute and go ahead.
Hey everyone, my main concern is also about the illegal dump, which is happening around Allen's Neck. I've got a townhouse there. There is a garden site which City of Johannesburg is intending to open it again, which used to be a before. and it was addressed, and we even went to Parliament, I think last year. We addressed the matter, but I think Pick It Up is also now again intending to open the dumping site, of which that place was causing a chaos to the residents. We know that the garden side was built before the townhouses, but I was thinking maybe if City of Johannesburg can consider to actually open the other gate or the other open area, which is opposite which is next door the CTM. If maybe they can utilize that area for garden site and leave the gate next to where the residents live, because there's an huge open area there where there are people who are staying there. They actually have built shacks. They are staying in that place, and that whole entire place, it's not that's where crime is being established. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanelli. Please, just a reminder to put all of those in the chat box. Haele, please go ahead.
Good evening, Chair. Heidi here, Ward Committee member. It would just seem to me that the priorities that are listed for Ward 101, as per the previous meeting, it would appear to me that there are more urgent and more pressing matters. So it looks like for Ward 101, definitely what our Ward Councillor Ralph was saying, that there seems to be more pressing issues, and I think that list will definitely need to be reprioritized for Ward 101, because obviously there's quite a lot happening. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Haile. So that will be done in consultation with the colleagues, the GSPCR colleagues, and they will consult the council also, so that we can just verify that which three go in as priorities. But I know I don't have to do this, but just to appeal to the councillors to make sure that they do consult with the communities before these three priorities are submitted, so that we know that the community, this is the community's chance to give an input. But as you've seen in the beginning of the session, there were some communities that were very underrepresented. So if the councillor can just ensure that especially like with Ward 89, please just to consult with those residents again before we review the three priorities. Thank you. Vim, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to adhere to all the requests that I've heard tonight, but I'm afraid if I do that, I would not be entertained, because last year we submitted priorities, but they don't appear on your list at all.
Again, I'm going to say that the priorities you see flighted here are the priorities that were presented to us when we engaged with the community in a community-based planning session, which was a physical session last year. And from that session, these three priorities were submitted to us. So those are the three priorities that we have taken. So that is where these priorities come from in our consultations with residents, Councillor.
Chairman, we submitted our priorities last year, but they were completely ignored. Hence, they do not appear on this list. You have asked for us to wait until our ward is listed. I am from Ward 126, and it doesn't appear anywhere in your presentation. So do I stay quiet or do I raise the concern?
No, you are quite correct. So Ward 126, I don't know. Quresh, is 126 on the slide after this? Because 126 definitely is an omission here on these slides. There's 126, Councillor. We'll come to 126 last. Let's just do, because we've got it in that order now, so we'll do 126 last. Let's just go back to 134. So we've got Ward 134 here. And the three priorities that we received from Ward 134 was priority 1, Oral Road dip flooding. Well, the bridge, when it rains, the dip road gets flooded and cannot be utilized. Cars get swept away, water gets logged, and it takes weeks for water to go down. green belt cleanup, cleaning of rubbish, get volunteers, green belt volunteers to clean up the area along Bayers Nodia to include pick it up. And then the last one, the sewer upgrades, extension in North Riding Agriculture Holding. Sewer facilities exist for some, but not for the newly rezoned agriculture area. People paying rates, residential rates, but do not have sewer services. And then you've got the response there from the city to say that for the bridge, bridge is under consideration. RO will remove the slit from the stream. And then for the green belt, the matter will be undertaken as part of cleanup campaigns. And then the last one, the sewer upgrades, to be referred to development planning at the city because rezoning applications cannot be approved if infrastructure does not exist. So that's Ward 134. So if we can just ask the residents of 134 to please raise hands if you want to comment, or are these priorities fine as they are? So I see we've got a hand there from MG. So MG, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself and then give your input.
Hi, so thank you to the chair and the committee. So I can't really comment on any of these ones specifically, except the first one, which the aerial issue is still a constant one because I drive past there every day. That hasn't been sorted out. There's bad road surface. There's cars that get stuck there all the time when it rains. So it looks like it's plaster fixes that they're doing, band-aid fixes. There's no permanent fix that has been prioritized for that specific one, right? So I think it's something they need to take into account, considering that the volume of traffic is increasing due to, the developments in the area, the increase in the Jackal Creek residents, also the Cosmo residents flowing out from the area. So that's something that still should be kept on the radar as a priority. The second and third one, I'm not sure about. But alternatively, I'm quite surprised that there were three other key issues that were never raised previously by anyone, which number one, the biggest issue is the boundary road traffic calming. We live on this road, right? And there's quite a few estates that are popped up on this road. It's actually getting quite ridiculous. If it's raining, we can have up to 3 accidents on a Saturday and 3 accidents on a Sunday. And there's nothing being done. We've tried various avenues and channels by raising it to the JRA to look at speed bumps or some traffic calming options. But nothing has been, there's no traction. So it's quite concerning because literally, and you can look at the statistics, right? Take a drive onto Boundary Road. Almost every street light is knocked down. There's no street lights because people speed. There's no traffic calming. We've been trying to get it. I've been living there for almost 8 years. Nothing has been done. It's a hazard. The road is dangerous. People speed all the time and there's nothing being done. Number 2 is the ongoing cable theft in terms of security. We're still having cable theft issues on a weekly basis here. So obviously something is not kosher in terms of whoever's replacing and fixing and how this whole mechanism works. So I would suggest that somebody need to look into it because the councillor can attest to this. Every week there's cable theft in the area, right? There's no security, nobody's monitoring, police are not patrolling, there's nothing happening. The third priority is around the dumping, the illegal dumping that's happening on Boundary Road in the conservation area between Cosmo and Boundary. The fence that's supposed to protect things are broken down. The dumping happens on almost a daily basis. People just dump things, break fences. As a community, we tried to put boulders in place to even protect the area ourselves that the residents from our estate paid for to get a TLP to put boulders in front so nobody could dump. That's the extent to which we've gone. But there's been no support from any of the municipality areas, nothing. No one's interested in fixing the fence. No one's interested. They claim the area is a greenbelt area, it's a conservation area, but come and have a drive past it. It looks like a dump site. So I'm very surprised that those 3 priorities, which I've posted in the chat already, have never been raised. And it would be appreciated if it could be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, MG, and I'm glad that you posted it into the chat box, so it will definitely be considered. Charles, please go ahead, unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, evening. Yes, just to add to the previous speaker's comment about the dumping, it's also the burning of that rubbish. And I know there was an initiative going around to do the air pollution and found out that there was problems with the air quality. And frankly, it doesn't seem anything is done about it. There was even an initiative to hire some guards to watch that area. And the concern now is that if we are now expected to pay for these guards, is that going to now be the final solution that we are paying for someone else's property to be protected from this dumping and burning? So yes, that's something that needs to be looked at. And also the second point is the water and the sewage. I think that has been covered by a number of the other wards already. So just to highlight that the sewage and the water is also a concern in Ward 134. And then my third concern is also the behavior of the taxis in the area. It has gotten worse since the COVID lockdown happened. They are creating congestion and also their behavior on the roads, particularly around the high schools and the shopping areas. I know there was an attempt where they tried to sort of set up a taxi rank around the high school. They were chased away, but I see they are back at it again. Yes, it really does create a hazard, and my concern is especially around the school. When the traffic is backed up like that, the child might be knocked down. So as the last I remember is that they're not allowed to pick up loads within residential areas, but they just seem to do as they feel like. And then, okay, I will put these concerns in the chat. The last point I wanted to raise is, okay, just the security in the area, because there was an unfortunate incident that I did read about where somebody was, the house was broken into and then the person was unfortunately shot and killed in a robbery. So those are the points I just wanted to add to the caller's previous concerns about what's happening in Ward 134. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. Mo Jochi, please unmute yourself and you can go ahead.
Yes, I'm from Ward 134, and I've participated in a number of these sessions with the city. Whilst we as residents hold hope that things would improve, I'm almost inclined to think for the number of years that I've participated in this meeting that this is a box ticking exercise. And I don't mean any disrespect to the people on this call, but it seems that the city is hopelessly bankrupt and is unable to take care of the fundamental repairs. So case in point, Chairperson, is for Ward 34, there are 3 priorities, whilst we as residents are dealing with many, many more. And I think there's a missed opportunity here in not allowing for a kind of nuanced conversation around what the actual challenges are that residents face. So my request is that rather than just, because of the limited resources that you guys have, rather than just focus on 3 priorities board, maybe give residents an opportunity pre the meeting to actually submit what are the actual challenges, so that we don't have the bureaucrats in the city just deciding willy-nilly what the actual challenges are that we face as residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mo. Mwansa, please unmute and go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, right. I was just following up. It's in the chat. I've also registered on the form for submission with my email address for us to please have the minutes, not the minutes, but the transcription, the recording, and also the chat dialogue so that there's a record for us who are actually taking the time to refer back to. From my personal experience of time recently, I have felt that it's so normal for people to be scared that people just don't even they're just glad, okay, fine, I got a scar. I broke my leg a little bit from jumping out of a car because someone was going to kidnap me. So please, can we have a record so that the next time someone comes through, that's what's forwarded to them, and they are better informed about what they are walking into. It speaks to the gentleman before previous point about just making sure that there's a communication. I beg, please, Councillor Steenkamp, may you please upload what I've requested to our WhatsApp group so that that has been recorded, and to at least my email, I've given permission. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansa. Your sound was very poor on that call, so I missed a lot of what you said. If you can please just put your comments into the chat box as well, eh? Vim, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I know we haven't reached 126 yet. My comments from our earlier discussion, I've pasted that in the chat box. But whilst doing it, I saw that numerous people wanted to find out how do they get to the register to sign their attendance. So maybe if you can guide us all once, it will save somebody typing many messages. How do we get to the register, please?
Thank you for that. So, Councillor, what you do, I'm going to ask Pumi again because I know Pumi has just pasted the register in the chat box now. So, if you go to the chat box, you'll see the register has been pasted in the chat box. Please just click on it. It will open up and a register will appear in front of you. You complete that. It's a Google form. And then you just press submit at the end after you've completed everything and you sign the register. Thank you for that. Qureshi, if you can...
I don't see that. Eh?
Yeah,
I'm in the chat box and I don't see it.
She just posted
it again, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the chat box. You'll see under Pumalelo Valencia Mokwena. There's a form there. Please just go to that form and then complete it. It is in the chat box. I've just checked now. Qureshi, if we can go to the last
Yusuf?
one. Yes.
Yeah.
What
Yusuf, don't forget the survey. We've also posted the survey, the delivery survey.
Okay, so and that's another important document that is in there. There's a service delivery survey. So all of those complaints, please go there, complete that form. And you can complete that form if you've got more than one issue. Don't conflate issues. Don't put 3 or 4 issues into one form. If it's an electricity problem, just put the electricity problem in, submit. You can then open another form. If it's a water issue, complete it and then submit. And it will go to those relevant departments for their attention. So please, that survey form is also in the chat. Please use the survey form. I think it's the first time we're attempting it and we want to see whether it's going to be successful. So please, if you can just assist by completing that form. Okay, the last ward now is Ward 126. And there are the priorities. So Ward 126, the 3 priorities. Construction of a taxi rank. Community members are requesting the city to build a taxi rank between Beyersnodie and Christian de Wet Road to help reduce taxis parking on the road and islands obstructing traffic. And then the second priority was speed reducing measures. Community members are requesting the city to install speed humps and other speed reducing measures to combat speeding on the roads. And then the third one, construction of a taxi rank. Community members are requesting the city to build a taxi rank. That seems like a repeat. No, it's a different one. Between John Foster and Christian Dale Lace Road to help reduce taxis parking on the road and islands obstructing the traffic. Those are the 3 priorities that community submitted to us. And you'll see the response there from the city. The plan and implementation of transport project in Johannesburg is preceded by the development of transport master plans. And this response is the same response they've given to priority number 3. The development of transport master plans includes the correction of the collection of current data, example, volumes of travel on transport corridors, etc. Once transport master plans are developed in consultation with stakeholders in the community, the recommended projects are prioritized and budget sourced during the city's budgeting process. This project is currently not on the prioritized list. The speed reducing measures, again, please submit a formal petition to the Office of the Speaker. So those were the 3 priorities for Ward 126. Can we open up and ask that hands now for Ward 126 to comment on these priorities? Thank you. I see we've got Audrey and we've got Vim. Audrey, please unmute and go ahead.
There we are. I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I don't recall any of those 3 priorities ever being mentioned from Ward 126. I don't know where they come from. I have given Vim the ones that we have had on every IDP thing since 2017. That what he has posted has been what we've been requesting. With regards to the taxi ranks, there's an illegal taxi rank that is sitting outside. It's sitting on both sides of John Foster and Dale Lace corners. The taxi drivers and their commuters urinate on the pavements. They mess. They ride over the curbstones on the pavements. That is a major problem that needs to be addressed. It's not for the IDP, but when you brought up the taxi ranks, these are the things that came to mind. What our priorities were the widening of J.G. Stradum between Jim Forshire and John Foster. Okay, the speed bumps, I hear you on that. The resurfacing of the 2 main roads within our area, which is Cockspur and Royhout. And then the sewage upgrade project was never completed in our area. And we have water pipes that really, we've had so many burst pipes because we have the old asbestos pipes and then they join them to the new pipes. And then we have multiple bursts continuously. So our roads are forever being, pavements are forever being dug up because of burst pipes. So those were our priorities. I don't know where the request for taxi ranks comes in.
Thank you, Audrey. Let me just re-emphasize and just say this again. So you might have submitted those priorities via email to the city.
Correct.
But the priorities that you see here, these are the priorities. When we convened a public meeting on the CBP last year, the residents that attended that public meeting, these are the priorities they submitted to us in the public meeting, and these are the priorities we recorded. Because I know that the city gets thousands and thousands of email inputs. And so if, for instance, from Ward 126, we received 100 inputs from residents via email, priority is given to it was in the past given to the residents that attended the public meeting, that engaged with the city, and those inputs were then taken and factored in. So now that we engaging with you virtually, we take cognizance of what you are saying, and we're going to check in the chat box, and we will review the priorities, because now we are, you see, previously, because residents from these specific wards that we are engaging with now never attended the public meeting, so somewhere in that process their voices got lost, and we're trying to rectify that with this process that we're putting in place now. I hope that, yes, Audrey?
I actually remember that Councillor David Brand informed us that not one of the requests that we sent through as residents, not one of them actually reached the IDP table. So that was a problem I remember from last year's IDP meeting. So somewhere along the line, there's a disconnect because Councillor Brand would have presented what we sent to him. And his comments after the meeting to us were not one of the requests that he put forward based on what we sent him, not one of them reached the table. So there's a problem there.
Thank you, Audrey. And I think we're trying to rectify that now. So let's see how what happens with this round of consultation. Vam, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I concur with Audrey's concerns, and I would like to raise my own. I have captured our ignored priorities in the chat box, and my concern that I have is that you have ignored our written submissions for the last 6 years, and now I've gone and put it in writing in your chat box. I hope you don't ignore it again.
It can't be ignored now, Councillor. We have it now and we have to consider it. Thank you.
No, but in the past you also had it. You had it in writing, but you chose to ignore it.
Councillor, like I'm saying, if you get inundated with tons and tons of emails, the planning, when they consider the priorities, preference was given to those people who attended the public meeting and gave input in the public meeting. Now we're trying to rectify it. We're trying to get those voices that are usually unheard. We're trying to get them as part of this process. So I think that was a problem, and we're trying to solve the problem, Councillor. Mallow, please, you can go unmute yourself and go ahead.
Just one comment.
Are you still busy? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
We are eagerly awaiting your priority list from this current exercise, because we have given you the input and we hope not to see them ignored again. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. I think GSPCR is in the meeting. Remember, that's the unit that sits with these priorities, and they are hearing the concerns that you are raising, and I hope that they take in heed. Thank you, Councillor. Mallow, please unmute and go ahead. Mallow Lick, please unmute and go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Councillor and everybody. I'm from Ward 134, and then I'm trying to actually add what actually those two guys who responded according to what is happening in Boundary Road. When we start to stay in this particular street, they promised us that there's actually going to be a road at the back of our houses. It's not at Boundary. They said Boundary is temporarily a road to get out. But until today, it's almost 8 years now from the time the view have been built, but there's no any indication of what is happening between a Johannesburg Road Agency and the developer, and the developer is nowhere to be found. We need a road which actually was promised on the development. And I'm sorry, it looks like it was never been part of the priority list during IDP, which means from now onwards we'll start to actually participate. But I wanted to raise that as a concern. If you allow us to do it, we'll have to put it in, because according to the plan, our road is supposed to go from downstairs going to O'Reilly Road. So thanks very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Please put that in the chat box for us. David Brand, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm the ward councillor in Ward 126. I must say I'm quite surprised to hear your comment that priority is given to those who attend meetings. That certainly sounds foolhardy. If a ward is underrepresented, it won't receive any acknowledgement of its requirements. And I think there has to be some guidance to people as well as to their priorities and some technical input and some financial input. Let me give you an example. And I understand this is not what was submitted in writing, and let me just comment on what was submitted in writing. For the last 3 years, whatever was submitted by councillors that I know, as part of the legal requirement of their job as councillors, was never acknowledged and did not make its way into any of the business plans of the entities. So that's where people get from it, that it's been ignored. We have input from residents, which is very important, but just because they've been at the meetings, these cannot be the priorities of the ward. They can be one of the priorities of the ward, but not one of the top three. Let me give you the example. A taxi rank on Christian de Wet and Bays Nordia is not in the jurisdiction of the city of Johannesburg. They are both provincial roads, and the only space available for a taxi rank is within the road reserves, which belongs to the province. But we've got it as our number one priority. We can never do it. We have a list that is submitted every year, and I've been the councillor for 8 years. In 8 years, it grows and grows and it grows. Small examples. We have a substation that was gutted and burnt, that it cannot be used anymore. That's a priority to rebuild it. We have recyclers who sit on a landfill that was closed 30 years ago, and to the point, the interference with what the operation of the city is to the point where the greening site can't open because they don't have security, and it's an impossible task to get them moved. I have an area in Honeydew that they cannot keep the electricity on, and its power is supplied from across the road on Rand Park Ridge, overloads their system as well, and it needs to be moved and recabled and brought into the Roodepoort area, and there is space for that, but we need money for it. Now, how can a taxi rank that is impossible to build take preference over those one or two things, and I've got an ongoing list? It can't. People have to be guided through this. Taxi rank, yes, but we would have to engage province, we would have to look at Gautrans, etc., etc. I don't want to take too much time. I think that's sufficient to give you our view of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. George Carney, please unmute and go ahead.
Yes, good evening. I appreciate it. I have to agree with what Audrey had to say, and I also have to agree with what Wim has to say. From the area that I'm in at this present moment, the water, the fresh water pipe, the normal water pipe, they started putting them in, and then they stopped halfway in our area. And of course, naturally, we are having, as Audrey said, major problems with the asbestos pipes, because it'll burst 3 meters down. They'll repair it 3 meters away. It'll burst again, and it's just like you land up with a lot of people without water, and you have a lot of water being wasted. And the thing is, why can't this become an issue that if it keeps on happening, all right, we need to fix the problem. That's what I really am concerned about. And I'm also concerned about the electricity issue that was brought up by the councillor. That is just something that is unacceptable. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, George. Alvaro, please unmute and go ahead. Alvaro.
Hi. Yes, so I'm from Ward 101, and I just want to take a bird's eye view of. I just listened to all of this, and I saw the slide deck flash past me with priority settings, issues, responses, and the outcome. I have not one positive outcome to anything that I've listened in this entire presentation. There has not been, nothing stands out to me that something has been resolved, something has been taken care of, and we have absolutely solved anything. I feel as a taxpayer, I have absolutely wasted 2 hours of my time, and I should have maybe been working harder to try and get some more money into the city, and hoping that more people can manage it properly so that we can have lights on Malibongwe, so that we can feed the traffic running from the N1 to Lanseria, which is one of the major arteries in our area, which has absolutely been paralyzed for months. So I can tell you, I leave this discussion absolutely deflated and negative, and by birth, I'm a very, very positive person. But I can tell you, I am absolutely despondent, and I don't think I will attend this session again, because it, to me, with all due respect, sir, total waste of time.
Thank you, Alvaro. Quentin, please go ahead. Quentin, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Chair. It's Quentin here, a resident in Ward 126. Just to check, Chair, are we still making deliberations centered around Ward 126 priorities?
That's correct.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused. In any event, I have to concur with Audrey as well as David Brand, but I have to make my own inputs. The issue of burst water pipes is a thorny one, as well as the substation. You know, there's constant electric cuts, which have affected the ward. And I mean, in the ward, we've also got the issue of vagrants. So with these constant electrical cuts, you can just imagine what could actually happen. And there's also another issue which is not prioritized here. The widening of JD Stradom, hence I say I do concur with Audrey, as well as the sidewalks. But none of these issues are actually highlighted in this priority list. Instead, we want to tap into the provincial road with a taxi rank, which I'm not sure how's that going to actually help the ward. Those are my inputs, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Quentin. So I think we've covered all the wards now, and we've received input from residents of all of the wards. So, Chair, I'm going to give back to you now. We can conclude on the session. Chair?
No, thank you very much for for taking us through the inputs of the wards concerned: 83, 85, 89, 97, 101, 126, and 134. And I understand where the residents are coming from in terms of the comment that somehow this gets to look like a talk shop. More action needs to be taken, and more positive outcome and feedback needs to be given to the communities, as opposed to just bring in raw information of what was suggested in the previous meeting. And I promise that in this dispensation we need to change the rules of game. When we come in this meeting, we no longer need to just only take the priorities from wards, but we need to indicate the progress from what was deposited previously to date. It is important for us to not just come here just to fill in the box and tick the box and move on, because otherwise we will be wasting too much time for the residents. I think it is important also to note that going forward, we should engage the executive, who should then get a brief before we come in, so that they are able to give a kind of a sense of whether issues raised are being attended to or will be attended to, or are within either the jurisdiction of the municipality or not. And it is important, I think, that we really understand that these meetings, otherwise, if they do not yield positive results, Otherwise, a lot of people are not going to be attending these meetings going forward, and we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where residents don't want to attend these things on the basis that even if they attend and deposit issues, they feel like we're just coming here to waste their time and take issues and never do or action any of the issues they've raised. Over and above that, we should be giving more guidance on matters that are not necessarily supposed to be put into priorities, but rather be given guidance into how best do we then resolve matters like this. I have heard one resident say there saying that for the past 20 years they've been making a request, and that request they've been getting the same answer time and again. I mean, what is the importance of those residents to come and attend these meetings if their issues are not being taken serious? And I want to also invite that the residents that they are free to also escalate certain issues to our offices so that we do proper oversight and do proper follow-ups and make sure that the executive or the city gives the services to the residents as requested or as required by the law. It is important that as the chair of chairs in the city of Johannesburg, we definitely go through all these complaints to make sure that we follow up with the executive to make sure that they actually follow through on matters that are raised by residents. Of course, not everything is going to be done at once. Not everything is going to be done at a go. But these are residents that have given themselves time to participate, and they would want to feel some kind of respect from the city that they believe should be offering services, in making sure that the city interacts with them. If something is in the pipeline, then there's need for communication, there's need for updates, there's need for letting residents know that if something can be done, it can be done. So, Quresh, with those words, I just want to check with yourself if you want to quickly go onto the CAPEX, just to quickly highlight what has been on the CAPEX, what was budgeted for, what is in progress, what is completed, just before we close up the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, so this is the presentation or the update. Let me rather call it an update. It's in the chat. So if communities just wants to copy it and copy it into their emails, they can actually have a look at this at their leisure. So if you look at some, I was just looking at what was approved from the wards, and I can understand why the residents feel the way they feel, Chair. If you look at, I'm just going to try and highlight. I'm not going to read the other ones that are not affected by your wards. There's 84. It's clear off. 44, 128. Not tonight. 127. No, 100. These were some of the highlights. These were some of the picks that was approved or that is in progress. There's 85. There's 85. There's an upgraded Down Nature Reserve. 227. That one is in progress. Ward 100. There's another one for Ward 97. Construction of the new Lut substation. 90% completed. 110 million by City Power. And then here's an installation of HV cables. I think there's it runs across these wards. That one is also 90% completed. The next slide is Ward 7101. There's something for Sharon Lee water pipe replacement, phase 1. That's from Joburg Water. It's in progress. Ward 100, Ward 84, 101. There's something for 101. It's a Sharon Lee water pipe replacement. I think it's the same. No, it's a different one. This one is 6 million.
It's phase 1 and phase 2, correct?
Phase 1 and phase 2, correct, yeah. Then we have Ward 70, here's Ward 97. Roodepoort Diepsloot planned replacement of water mains, 4.7 million. And then we have Cosmos City 100, 114. It's not your wards. 127. It's not yours. Here's Ward 40. Well, no, it's not 44, 49, 128. Okay, there's nothing there. Here's another one for Ward 101, Golden Harvest Park, Johannesburg Parks and Zoo. That one is in the planning phase. 127, it's not yours. 114, 70, 127, 127, Ward 127, 70, 127. No, it's not these wards. There's something for 101, Sharon Lee. Water replacement. Yeah, so those are the items that has been, as the slide said, it's some of the highlights, some of the achievements that was approved in the previous budget, Chair. Thank you.
I see there's two hands there, Councillor Ralph Bitkau and Louisa to follow
Thank
after.
you very much, Chair. Quite honestly, this is totally misleading. The pipe replacements in Sharon Lee came out of the emergency budgets due to what I managed to arrange. It had absolutely nothing to do with IDP. Your thing about planning in Golden Harvest Park, it would be very nice if I was actually informed what you are planning or what's being planned, because nothing's happening from City Park side. I've managed to organize a lot of things through the community and with the help of the community. So quite honestly, please do not mislead the people with what you are trying to show here now. Thank you.
Louisa?
Just a comment on page 17 with the construction of the new Lutz substation and the installation of the HV cables between Lutz substation and I think Dalkeith substation. With that value of 288 million, they still say that there is not enough budget and therefore it's not included in this New Year's budget and therefore they cannot complete it, and that's why it's at 90% completion, and it doesn't look like they're going to do it for the next 2 years. So the fact that you've got a capex amount in the business world, if you've got a capex, that means that you've assigned that amount. You would have got your proposals, you would have got your quotations, you would have got a budget, you would have had a contingency percentage on that, and that would have covered for the whole project. And from the understanding on the last meeting is that there is not enough money to complete that and it won't be done for the next 2 years. And this just doesn't make sense. Huh? But thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Louisa. I hope, colleagues, you are noting all these concerns. Charles, and then after Charles, it's Vim.
Sorry, can you just go back to the one about the Golden Harvest? I didn't see that one. Okay. Is there any capex that was approved for 134?
Oh, is
No,
that okay?
I haven't seen anything here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Vim, followed by Julie Fredericks and Alvaro.
Thank you, Chairman. It's me again. When I see you flash through these important planning aspects and just millions are mentioned and HV cables, etc., etc. In our area, we had the privilege of having an 11 kV cable replaced a week or two ago. We highlighted our concerns regarding the installation that was flatly ignored. It is specified that the 11 kV cable should be 1 meter underground. The trench between JG Strydom substation and the Heerbell mini sub is barely 300 mils deep in most places. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you so much, Chair. I've just noted also that there's no capex for Ward 89, and there is so much work that is needed in this area, which we've mentioned, and it's in your chat box as well. So when will there be any capex assigned to this ward? Because we need, there is a need for our many substations to be secured. There is a need for the roads to be done. There's a need. It's all in a pipeline dream in your presentation, but there is no execution plans. There's no dates, especially in your capex that you've shown here. It's all in planning, but there's no project planning assigned to this. So really, are we wasting our time to raise our concerns, or are we wasting valuable time in having these meetings? Thank you.
Thank you, Alvaro. Okay, Marlo, come in.
Sorry. Probably just to echo and amplify what I've already heard. I'm a little bit shocked being at this meeting, listening to councillors at this presentation saying, but what they see now is completely unaligned, and it's new information to them. They don't know what's being presented. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsense. And yeah, I am, as a resident, trying to understand all of this. I'm on the lower tier of all of this, but the councillors don't even know what's going on, with all due respect to them, because of misinformation. I leave this meeting a little bit perplexed and a little bit concerned. And I'm sure that it was really intended with a good intention to really inform us, but I'm more confused than when I logged in, to be quite honest.
I think you've got a point there, but I hope colleagues will help clarify the matter. Sandile?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Sandile Mkhize. I'm from GSPCR, one of the city's planning departments. No, it was just to actually come in from there was a comment that was made by one of the community members in terms of Ward 134 to say that there was no capex in that specific ward. In fact, there is a project, a capex project in Ward 34, and it's the replacement of the MV cables. They are actually faulty, so the city has put aside a budget to deal with that in the North Riding area in extension 30, and the total budget for that is 14 million rand for the financial year. So in 134, there is a capex project that the city is actually undertaking between 24-25 until 2027. And also, just to echo what Yusuf would have said, Chairperson, the issues that were discussed, the priorities that were actually flighted by Yusuf, are issues that we obtained from communities. In the previous session, it was obviously a physical session, and going into the next financial year or into the IDP, the issues that have been raised in these meetings, they will be responded to, and obviously they'll be escalated to the relevant departments. So I just want to assure communities that it's not really a waste of time. We do take the issues that they're raising seriously, and we're going to raise them, and we're going to route them to the relevant departments. But also we urge the residents and communities to know the city's financial positions. It hasn't been easy. there are budget cuts. There's a lot that has actually been going on. But obviously, whatever is being raised here, we're going to route it to the relevant departments. And we are very much thankful for the people that have taken their time to be at these sessions. As JSPCR will take the matters forward to the relevant departments. Thank you, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much. Charles, I see you're back.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out after these meetings, how is the minutes and the priorities distributed, so that at least people can look at it and verify it and see if it's a true reflection of what was discussed. Because I think that seems to be the recurring concern, that what is prioritized in the slides is not what is really what's happening on the ground. And then my second question is, how do we make sure that the concerns that we are raising here is going to be properly recorded? And then finally, how do we do follow-ups or or some sort of a progress report showing how this matter has been addressed? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malo. Malo Lick. Unmute. Malo Lick. Okay, we will move on to Mo Jogi.
No, I'm muted. Hello?
Yes, come in.
Yes. Look here at the chairperson and the councillors. As a resident of Boundary Road, I'm so disappointed because I don't see actually any capex of a Boundary Road, and it's the dangerous road I have ever stayed. And not to see any project which actually is on the pipeline. I know one councillor actually indicated that somewhere Ward 34 they are doing something, but it's not here on this capex which actually are presenting to us. I'm so disappointed to be sitting in this committee to listen to all the wards which actually they are attending to, but forgetting about the very dangerous road, which we call it Boundary Road from Malbongwe to Jackal Creek to Aurelia, because that is a very dangerous road which needed an immediate attention. So I believe with you as the councillors to take this really seriously so that we can actually have a safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mo Yogi. And I'm actually now giving you 45 seconds to wrap up so that at least we don't lose any more people.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I'll jump in here so that I get my full 45 seconds. I just want to speak on behalf of Ward 134. I'm curious to understand how these CapEx budgets are actually allocated. There's not a single cent that's been allocated to Ward 134, and we have numerous challenges. Thank you.
Leandra, 45 seconds.
Good evening. I just wanted to ask that we get the link to the proper service delivery form, please, because we've been asking in the chat, but it's not being provided.
Rian. Come in, Rian. Unmute, Rian.
Sorry about that, Chair. Chair, yeah, I just want to comment. I stay in Ward 101. We've had numerous issues, and I just find it so difficult. How are we supposed to have confidence in the city when the city does not even manage their contractors? The contractors have been digging up on Hyperion Drive numerous times, and not one time is it repaired to the last state as the contractors found it. So I'm finding it very difficult. And most importantly, what recourse do we have as residents? Because we fighting with our ward councillors, we're logging calls with the JRA, but nothing happens. So what recourse and what can we do to take it to another level to escalate these problems? Because I feel it's just going on deaf ears. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Rian. Sandile, I see, I don't know whether that is a legacy hand or you want to come in and maybe deal with the questions that GSPCR needs to respond to. Sandile?
Sorry, sir. It's hello. Hello.
Yes, Sandile, we can hear you.
Okay. No, thank you very much, sir. No, it was just to actually then just give the assurance to communities that whatever issues that would have been raised tonight, when we go in April, between March and April, when we do the IDP, what we actually do from these issues that we get from these sessions, we give some sort of feedback. So feedback will be afforded to communities on the 3 issues that they would have actually raised going into the IDP. That's what I wanted to raise. So that indeed we're going to be offering feedback for the issues that would have been raised in this platform. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sandile. Rian, I'm not sure whether that is a legacy hand. I see you have raised your hand, and if it's a legacy hand, Quresh, I'm sure you have captured a whole lot of concerns raised by the residents there. I want to give you 2 minutes to try and wrap up, or if there's any official that can do a wrap up. We have been sitting in this meeting for quite some time now. Correct? Colleagues, anyone close to Quresh there who can just advise that we kind of have now came to. Oh, David, I see your
Okay.
hand there. Come through.
Thank you very much. My name is David Mawelawela. I'm working in the same office with Quresh and Yusuf. We are responsible for public participation in the city of Johannesburg. I actually want to make a short comments with regard to how this meeting has unfolded, and we really appreciate and welcome all the participants in Region C, in those particular respective wards, and we have listened to you, and we heard all your frustrations and your concerns, and we want to promise this meeting that we'll make sure that whatever that we have raised, we will find a good space to accommodate and make sure that we correct, so that we are then able to plan for the future, because those who ignore history will always commit the same mistake. So whatever inputs that we have made that seems to suggest how things should be done, we'll make it a point that we work on those things. And when we invite you for the forthcoming meetings, and then of course we shall have done our spade work and everything will be in par with how I expect the City of Johannesburg officials to respond to our issues. Chair of Chairs, I felt it would be necessary and important for me to make this closing statement before we can just close the meeting to its own glory. So thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. Any colleague from your office that wants to speak after you've spoken? And if not, colleagues, I think it is only fair that we register all the concerns of our residents and adhere to what they are requesting us. I don't think that they are asking for too much. They are saying that if you have called them to listen to them, you must also make sure that those things that they've deposited reflect, and not only reflect, but get actioned. And I'm hoping that by April, when we come back into the IDP, they will get a sense of the concerns that they have risen. But there is a comment that was paramount to me that says, is there a situation where whatever they have raised now can be resent to them for verification so that if there are some things that have not been, captured or reflecting as the way they have said them, then they are able to rectify and resubmit to yourselves. And I think, Quresh, David, and colleagues, perhaps we can also touch base on that, because it's important for our residents to realize that the things that they are saying, actually, we're taking them into consideration, and we actually going forward them for them to be action. So if we can just clarify that before I adjourn the meeting. Colleagues?
Chair, perhaps I can just answer on that one. What's going to happen with the comments? Sandile is in the meeting. Their department pulls together all the comments, all the issues that was in the chat box, and the issues that was raised during the discussion. We do have a transcript of tonight's session, and I think the residents are more than welcome to, if they sign the register, we can email the comments to them, the transcript. So yes, it's the meeting is recorded, so we've got all the information available. So GSPCR will take responsibility to circulate the recording of this meeting to the residents, that they can just drop us an email, and then we can do that. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much. Allow me at this point to thank residents and councillors who have attended this CBP session from Ward 83, 85, 89, 97, 101, 126, and 134. Thank you very much. I hope this time around we have not just only listened to you, but we are going to really reshape, relook into areas where you have given hints that we're not really doing correctly, and we will rectify. When we come back, I hope a lot would have changed. Thank you very much, colleagues, officials who have made this possible. Thank you very much for attending this meeting. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Adolf. Hey, Mabena.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.